Hey everyone, just as a quick announcement, we did have to re-record this due to some audio issues. So if we reference that at all during the podcast, that is why. Also, we're doing an event in August, Camping with the Bards. We are running a summer camp themed event on our Twitch all month. So subscribe to twitch.tv/withbards to get notifications when we're online. Welcome to Dancing with the Bards. My name is Ian, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Brooke and Will. And our guest this month is Larry. Today we'll be covering a game that has become extremely popular in the 4 years since its release, and won a flock of awards all over the world. Wingspan is a card-driven, engine-building game designed by Elizabeth Hargrave and published by Stonemaier Games. You may play as an ornithologist, bird watcher, or maybe a researcher who really wants to bring the best birds into their wildlife preserves. You collect food tokens, birds, and eggs to try to accumulate the most points in 4 rounds. With that introduction out of the way, let's squawk about the game, starting with number of players. So number of players, I gave this a 3. This goes from 1 to 5 players, which I like the fact that it has the single player element to it as well. So that's a 3 for me for that.
Yeah, I always appreciate when you can play a game on your own as the only child in the room. Wait, are you one too?
What? Yeah.
Okay, so only children. Well, it's nice to have a one-player option.
As far as I know of, at least.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Really depends what state I go to. But anyways. As far as number of players, yeah, I think this works really well as a 1 to 5 player game because, I mean, you can play alone, you can play with 3 people. Unfortunately, you do need to buy an expansion pass to play with 2, but we'll get into that later.
Does the expansion pass, does that also add to the maximum player cap as well?
Yes, it does bring it up to a 7-player separate expansion. No, wait.
The Asia expansion.
Yeah, the Asia
does 1 and 2, and then 6 and 7 as well.
The Asia one also can be its own game for up to 2 players, for 1 to 2.
All right. I gave this a 3. I think it fits really nicely into our sort of 3 to 5 player category. I do like the offer of being able to add extra people with the expansion. I think that's a neat concept.
Yeah, I had given Cosmic Counter before for a same grade for the same reason. But this also allows you to do the 1 player, which not a lot of games do. Going on to inclusivity, that is another 3 for me. I don't really see... there's not a lot of places where you can really struggle with this. There's not like a lot of numbers here. Most of the die you roll are all food-based, so it just has the images of what you take. So it's... Other than the fact that the text was a little small to read, I think it was pretty easy to understand.
I did docket a point for inclusivity, mainly because, if I recall correctly, a lot of the symbols for the effects were very similarly shaped, very similarly colored, and that basically up to taking someone else's card, it's very hard to see when certain things would trigger on other people's cards that affected you.
Yeah, I also did give it a 2 as well in inclusivity. Not mainly because the symbols looked alike, but just because they repeat so often, it almost drowns you in the fact that it's trying to help you understand. It's almost like, hey, this symbol does this, and as a reminder, this symbol does this, and in case if you forgot, this symbol does this. And that could get a little confusing at times.
I gave it a 2, but I don't remember why.
It's probably going to be a common theme here.
Especially for this one.
Yeah. I feel like I'm almost getting gaslit by my own rating here. Where I'm just like, well, why didn't I like the comprehension?
I gotta write more notes. Comprehension was also a 2. Still don't know why.
Oh, no, I know why comprehension was a 2 because I gave it a 2 as well. This game, it has a slow start. It is not necessarily friendly for people that are getting... Because it is one of those games where you learn by playing, but you dive into a deep end, especially the first turn, the first round, because there's the most turns. You have to build a strategy, and you don't know where you're starting a strategy from because you don't know what the strategy is.
Yes, and that was something I struggled with the first game I played. I didn't really understand how the different birds interacted with each other and how I should be building for future rounds.
It's almost like an engine.
An engine that you build. An engine builder, if you will. Oh.
No, I did give it a 2 on comprehension as well, but not quite for those same reasons. I think for me, if I remember correctly, it was more just of the fact of how much you have to rely on just the cards. Most other games that are an engine builder have a little bit more text on where you would be building said engine. This is kind of just 5 empty slots, 3 rows, and go at it. So I did end up docking it a point, but if you're familiar with these kind of games, it is pretty easy to find a rhythm for it. As far as availability goes, you can get this thing anywhere.
It's like the best part.
Yeah.
Didn't you say you picked this up at Target?
Yeah. Well, I was looking at it at Barnes & Noble, and I was like, this looks awesome. And then I was like, but I don't want to do that. I'm a responsible adult. And then for whatever reason, a game about birds just stuck in my head all night. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to Target because I know they have it there.
Same sort of deal. It has been in my wish list on Steam for weeks now.
Yeah, that's the 3 for availability for me. You can get all of these on their site, including all the expansions. It's not like they stop making one of the expansions after a few months and move on to the next one. It's all there. We saw this at Barnes & Noble, me and you, when we went. And I remember you were like, that's that game from Stonemaier that I really wanted to try.
Yep. That was the same day that I was like, I'm a responsible adult, and it turns out I'm not.
No, none of us are.
You got a little bit extra money so we can get some food after this?
You're responsible enough to know you shouldn't, but the impulse just made you.
Exactly. It's that sitting at home for an hour after with nothing else to do.
I mean, you've gotten a lot of use out of this.
I have.
Yeah.
So materials.
I remember this part.
Yeah.
This game was or is now my standard for materials. Everything was done intentionally. Even though those little plastic bags are a pain to deal with, they're biodegradable, right?
Mm-hmm.
They most certainly are.
So everything they did was intentional. The pieces feel nice. The board is nice. The artwork's fantastic. Like, this is my standard now.
You will only be let down from here.
Probably.
Yeah, I think everything in the box is biodegradable. Even like the plastic trays that they have is made out of like sugar cane. If you were to throw this thing in a compost pile, it would just be gone.
Okay. Farmer Me says not your home compost. You'd have to go to industrial compost, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I also gave it a 3 for materials. This has some of the best, the wooden dice and the dice tower that comes with this.
It's just the eggs for me. The little
amazing.
wooden pastel eggs.
They look so delicious.
The urge to not eat the eggs was real.
I love dice that are made out of different materials. Like I have like cowbone dice somewhere, and I saw the nice wooden dice, and I'm like, ooh.
Everything has good tactile. They could have easily like overglossed everything and it would have felt like plastic, but they really leaned into the materials they used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as far as materials go, it goes down to the theming for this. Like, it's oozing in theme. I mean, even the boards, when you put them away, you can fold them up into like little bird watching journals. The wooden dice, the fact that everything's biodegradable, the little birdhouse dice tower. They could have easily just thrown up a generic dice tower if they wanted to.
I mean, even down to the score sheet, which has a beautiful gradient on it. Mm-hmm. Like, that is a level of detail that you don't see in a lot of games.
And the paper quality didn't suffer.
Also the art, like real quick, the art, they have paintings, they're all paintings, right?
As far
for
as
all
I
the
know.
birds. Yeah. Like, and there are a lot of birds. Look, every card is a different one.
I have a friend who does scientific illustration as a side gig. Mm-hmm. That stuff takes a lot of time. Like, this game was so cared for. Now, I don't know if this is me making this up because, again, my brain is fuzzy at this point. Was this the one where you could also buy pieces separately if things were to get destroyed? So, like, even that was intentional where they stuck to their mission of making this the eco-friendly game, and it really worked. Nothing suffered because of it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so going into gameplay then, for setup, I gave this a 2. There's not a whole lot there, but there's a long process for getting all the cards together. Each person gets this and that. It is a little tedious.
Just to add on to that, as a new player for this game, a lot of the paths that you need to set up in the very beginning aren't necessarily very clear if you haven't played the game before. It does do some work in trying to push you in the right direction. And I do believe that there is a module that comes with the game that kind of teaches you how to play it. Mm-hmm. What was the reason, again, we didn't use that the first time?
Just because it kind of, with it being an engine builder, forces everyone into their own sort of roles, and it might not be something that you want to do.
Gotcha.
So, yes, it going on to setup, it does come with what's called a Swift Start Guide, which, because once again, more theme birds are swift. Haha, yay.
Bird puns.
We have enough of those. But yeah, it does come with the Swift Start Guide, which goes over everybody's... I think you will hit every action between all 4 players. I think every action twice, if I recall correctly. Because, yeah, there's 4 actions, 4 players. Yeah, so everybody does something twice. So it does help a little bit. I still dock this a point for setup, and honestly, looking back on it, I cannot remember why, because this seems pretty average in terms of games that involve a lot of cards and a lot of small pieces. So if I knew, I would happily tell you, but I have no idea.
I gave it a 3. I'm a chaotic being. I like things everywhere. The board was messy. That's perfect for me.
Fair.
I'm pretty sure I do know why you gave it a 2, and I think it was the eggs.
It was the eggs. I hate the eggs. I love the eggs, and I hate the eggs, because if you don't set those little guys up just on the flat bottom, they will be gone. They roll better than real eggs roll. Though these you can drop, so there's, yeah.
I mean, you can drop all eggs once.
Yeah. You win some, you lose some.
Going into rate of play, I gave this a 2 for rate of play. As I was going through the turns, especially towards late game, I by the way, I won. I was very, very happy with that. But I had...
remember, that's a lie. It was 3 weeks ago.
I had, for the last 2 turns, I had already planned out every turn of that round. Sorry, for the last 2 rounds. Pretty much within the first turn or 2. So I wasn't super engaged because I already kind of knew what I was going to be doing. Like, I had the cards in my hand already that I was going to play. There wasn't a lot for me to do between turns. There are some cards in this, and it is a small thing, but there are some cards that you do get things, if you're paying attention, that other players do. But they're kind of few and far between.
I don't necessarily know about that. When I played, I had, I think, 2 or 3 cards that were pretty key to my builds that all relied on other players.
Well, yeah, but those aren't a must-use either. That's the thing.
You picked those.
Yeah, I've played this, I think, 3 times now, and I've gotten all of one of those out.
See, personally, I love that. I gave it a 3, but that build of anticipation of I know what I'm going to do. Like, I love that build of anticipation. Like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to do the thing. It's going to be so cool. Like, I enjoy that. And this is probably the first game in a while where I haven't trailed off and tried to interact with fish in the chat and Twitch, to be honest. So, like, I gave it a 3. It held my attention, which is pretty hard, especially that late at night.
I ended up slapping it with a 2 on that just because, as Ian said as well, is that as someone who plays a lot of these kinds of games, the rate of play isn't really there because you can build exactly what you're going to do and then kind of just ignore the board until it's your turn. Now, I've heard that's rectified in the expansions, and I'd love to see it. I just haven't gotten around to getting them yet. But apparently in the European one, there's a new factor that adds player interaction, and same thing with the Asia one as well.
I was about to say, yeah, I think that's really what it is for me, is the lack of player interaction. Other games where, you're planning out, strategy and stuff like that ahead of time, and with a lot of other engine builders, you can have the rug taken out from under you by another player at the last minute. You're so close to victory, and suddenly, bam, you're on the floor.
Shout out to Suicide Bombing and Scythe.
Yeah, but with this game, because it takes a more passive approach to the game, which, by the way, it is very nice and refreshing to have a game where I'm not constantly at someone's throat.
Those are my favorite.
But I'm also the kind of person to be constantly at someone's throat when I'm playing a board game. I'm very competitive.
You? Never.
I've never seen that once in you.
Never.
And I noticed its absence here.
See, I love that because then I get to focus on trying to figure out how everyone else's brain works. I find it so interesting watching everyone, what they're putting on, trying to see what their strategy is. Like, that's so interesting to me. And not having to focus on my own cards and being able to kind of like peek over every once in a while is fun.
That's cheating.
Cheater, bro.
All right, so price. I gave this a 2 for price. You can get a copy of this brand new for $60. That said, there are sales for it all the time. Used copies are between $30 to $50. When we went to record this, it was on sale on Amazon for $47. You can... It's a lot for a game, but not really. It's kind of... The thing I think that really drives that price up is the price for the expansions, which are anywhere between $30 to $45 each.
As for price, I hit it with a 3. That's a pretty average price for a game this size. It's nothing egregious. Even the amount of the expansions that are out aren't over the top. There's 3 of them. They're all fairly priced, in my opinion.
I ended up giving it a 2 for that reason. I think it was fairly priced. I don't think it's a crazy deal, though. It's average. It's a pretty average price.
It's good. It's not great.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not offended by the price point.
I gave it a mid-late, like I gave it 1.5. I don't remember exactly why, but I'm cheap. I always go low on these. Like, this is the one thing that like it loses points in most games for me.
Oh, I will put this thing because we forgot to mention this in availability. You don't just have to get a physical copy for this game. You can also get it on Steam, not PlayStation, Xbox, and iOS. I think PlayStation's the only one that can't get it.
Will kind of set it up top because he's apparently had it in his wish list.
Yeah, I did mention it, but yeah, it's available on basically everything except for PlayStation because no one likes PlayStation.
Yeah, I don't really think PlayStation players would enjoy this all that much anyway.
Well, you never know.
There's a lot of PlayStation players out there. I mean, as Will said, I think not even PlayStation likes PlayStation.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Ryan definitely doesn't like PlayStation.
PlayStation players are afraid of birds. It's a scientific fact.
Well, that's because they're scared of the government, but that's a whole other... we'll get onto that in another episode.
That's a different podcast, Larry.
Oh, is it? We're not doing the conspiracy show after this?
No,
No,
we
not
are.
Dancing
Or
After Dark.
conspiracy.
Bards After Dark.
Watch those government drones. I mean birds, folks.
Extras. This is also like a standard for me. These extras did exactly what we needed. There's a lot of them. They all have a reason. They have special things that come with each one. I feel like this is like Munchkin had too many. There's a couple of them we wish they had them. This has the perfect amount. They made sense.
I ended up giving it a 3. I think all of the expansions had a reason for coming out. They all follow the different regions and different local birds. At no point did it feel like a cash grab. It also added unique, mechanics, which is something you always like to see in an expansion.
I will say, I gave it a 3 for extras too, but they have one for all the continents now, except I think Africa and Antarctica. Where are my penguins? Oh, sorry, South America too. Which, by the way, where are my penguins?
If they do the Antarctica expansion.
All penguin expansion. Only penguins.
Base game
all the penguins.
was North and South America.
Yeah,
Base game is North and South America.
I think it's just North America.
It's North America.
It's
They
North
just
America.
they don't have penguins. He wants specifically penguins.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I feel like if they do an Antarctica expansion, it's going to be about 4 cards.
You got a bunch of penguins in
So
South
it could be
America.
like a little pack.
Yeah, a
South
little like
Africa.
travel deck.
$5 for 3 cards of just penguins to
I
keep
would-
being happy.
Pay a lot more than $5 for 3 penguins, but that's just But yeah, as far as extras go, I gave it a 3 as well because, I mean, yeah, they have a reason to exist. It's not like they're just doing this because they're like, oh man, I need more money. People like that bird game. They're doing it because it's a passion project, and each region has diverse birds, believe it or not. So
I mean, people do like
I mean,
this
if
bird
they paid
game.
attention to biology, they'd
It's won a lot of awards.
for good reason.
Yeah.
Again, this is one of the most intentional games that we've reviewed so far. Like, I've yet to see a plot hole where it's just like, oh, this might be just for the money. Like, everywhere I poke at it, it's solid.
All right. So, enjoyment. 3.
Three.
I love this.
Solid 3 for me.
Obviously
Very fun
a
game.
1. Obviously a 1. Yeah, no, 3's all around, I believe.
I enjoyed the atmosphere that it created. I enjoyed the play style. I had a lot of fun planning out my turns. I really enjoyed this game.
I mainly enjoyed saying egg up over and over
Yes.
again. That was very fun.
There may or may not be a sticker of egg up on my iPad that I might get next time. Sticker
Yes.
up.
Gotta egg up.
Egg
Yeah.
up.
It's actually also in the artwork for the Camping with the Bards.
Yeah.
Egg
Yeah.
up is on there.
I saw the little patch.
Good. Did you, in fact, egg up?
I did.
Have you egged up today?
Yeah, I have to redo the sticker now. That's
Now you made it weird.
All right. Recommendation 3 again. I think this game, the only people I would say maybe want to wait on this is if you have young children. And that's just like choking hazard stuff.
I think some of our friends too, though, shouldn't play it for similar reasons, though. Larry, put your hand down.
I mainly gave it a 2. If I remember correctly, it was mainly for my my comprehension complaints above.
Yeah.
Being shouted at that it was an engine builder is not a way to teach someone how to play
Do
it.
you understand that it's an engine builder now?
I do. I still don't know what an engine builder is, but I know that Wingspan is in
It's
fact
just
one
like
of them.
Wingspan.
So it's a game about birds. All engine builders are bird games.
Exactly. Well, because they are government drones. So, once again,
Oh, and they have engines in them.
See?
I finally get it.
Yeah.
This was a cash grab. This was a cash grab for the NSA. But yeah, I also gave it a 3 for recommendation. It is a lot of fun, down to the fact that, you know, you can kind of build your own engine, play your own way, have your own style to it. Down to the fact that some of the bird names are hysterical. Like, my man, Purple Martin, will forever hold a special place in my heart.
What was it?
Because that's a hysterically named bird, and it's not offensive either.
Was it the American coot?
There were so many. You forget, like, scientists are just weird.
Yeah.
Like, these
I
are all
think
the
they're-
scientific, or not the scientific, they're the general names, but, like, they're weird.
Yeah, I think there was one that was like the dim-witted finch or something.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, no,
they
they're so good.
How do they
They-
know? Did they test it?
Yeah, they just found that finch and they were like, that guy is stupid.
The common
Look at
common
this
loon is my
dude.
favorite.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, this is a loon. It's just very common, though. Like, this
There's
is
a
the normal.
lot of them, and there's absolutely nothing outstanding about it.
Like, why call it a titmouse? I don't understand. Who saw this like little tiny finch bird and was like, that's a great name for a
I
bird?
did actually look this up, and I can't remember the etymology of it now. Etymology? The word history of it. I looked it up.
Etymology.
I can't hear phonetics. Like, it's a problem.
I'm just saying you're right.
Yeah, I know, but I'm also just saying, like, that doesn't happen often. Not with words. Replay value, I think we all...
Oh, solid. 3.
Yeah.
This
Three.
is
I
the game.
actually
Oh.
gave it a 2. So I wouldn't play this all the time. I would, if I were to play this too often, I would definitely get tired of it. Pretty quick. It has to be kind of more spread out for me, for sure. And with that said, for like $65, I personally wouldn't feel like I got my value out of it in that space. I really enjoy it. I just, for $65 for something I'm probably going to end up with my friend group and everything taking out like once every few months.
I gave it a 3. I'm literally trying to find a cheaper copy right now to bring on a cruise with me, because I think this would be a decent cruising one. I wouldn't have to explain a lot, but I'd be able to, like, make new friends. Pretty birds.
Yeah.
You can
Little
always bust out
eggs.
the iPad.
What?
Just bust out an iPad with it on there.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I gave it a 3 for replay value, especially if you have a large collection. It's something that could always stay in rotation.
Oh, I've forgotten extras. Can we circle back for a second?
Yeah.
You can also get so you had some complaints about the baggies and the little plastic containers. As I always do, I scan Etsy, and there's some very good options for board management. If you don't like the board management, I have no problem with it. But they do have extras on there, including like new tokens and stuff that are a little higher quality or acrylic. That aren't necessarily eco-friendly as they wished, but you can get those if you, for some reason, don't like wooden dice.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning the acrylic tokens last time we recorded.
They're really shiny.
I know
Who doesn't
they
like
look great.
Who wouldn't like wooden dice? What, is someone gonna like put them in water and try to see if they're balanced?
You never know. Some people have a weird tactical thing.
You gotta do a saltwater test.
But
Always
also,
do the saltwater test.
apparently, in I think it's European expansion, they have nectar.
Yeah.
And the nectar and the acrylic make it back to that edible glory.
Oh.
So, like, if you like the whole idea of wanting to eat the eggs and everything else on the table, they do, like, hook you up for the nectar.
I mean, that's a downfall of a lot of board games I play.
That you don't want to eat it?
No, that I do want to eat it.
Oh.
There is eaten at least 3 sets of Scytheworth.
I was thinking root. Those are the tokens for me that I go, like...
Those look like a lot of fun.
Oh.
Larry eats 3 board games a week.
That's another one that I want to do at some point. Is
Very
root.
expensive.
That's why he's so good at them.
Because they're inside me.
Yeah,
I have
taking their
literal
power.
internal knowledge of the games I play. But I would happily do Root on here because I have all of the expansions for that. It's just,
Yes, please. Because I had a hookup for that, and then we lost touch, but he had, like, all the expansions, too. So I do want to do root. Especially because, again, the Etsy things for that, the trees, are off the chain.
yeah. I mean, the cuter a game is, the crazier Etsy tends to go.
It's the best. That's my wheelhouse.
Sliding scales. We're towards the end. I gave this an innovative 3. It is unique in a lot of areas. It sets a standard for a lot of the things we talked about, for everything from materials to play style. I think that this is a very good example of a well-done, innovative game.
Similar.
I also gave it a 3. Mainly because I don't see a lot of games like this that have that single-player element to it, which I think is a really neat...
You mean engine builders?
To your knowledge.
I knew it was coming. I saw that
Oh,
smile.
I was
on his face.
waiting for it.
That's why you have to go, like, in my experience, if you say that, they can't touch you.
Oh, no, we can't. We're going to touch you.
They touch me all the time.
You guys
Cut that out.
You work together.
I know.
I'm his boss.
They're both my
So am
boss.
I.
We can touch you all we like. Anyways.
He approves my time card.
You're on company time now.
Better dance if you want them Tuesday hours. I have come to poop on the party on that scale, however, because, I mean, yes, I did give it a 2 in terms of innovative, but at the end of the day, it's a themed engine builder, which is a genre of game where you build an engine. I feel like somebody may need me to drive that point home a little bit.
But bird facts.
But that's where it gives it a 2. Because there's bird facts, it's oozing with theme, and it's the pieces look delicious.
How many, just because I don't play as many board games as you do, how many engine players have that single player option?
It's not really necessarily an engine builder thing, but single player games have become almost standardized at this point. Almost any newer game that comes out, you can play single player because I think it might be linked to the fact that not many people are having 4 or 5 kids anymore. So, you know.
I wonder if COVID had anything to do with it.
That might have,
no,
yeah.
COVID will then cause us to have 4 games for like 30 players going forward. Because everybody. Give it like 6 years.
I have a pulse on this because of my job. There are a lot of them.
I have 14 kids myself.
Tommy, Tim Tam, Thomas.
All T names.
Yeah.
Trevor, Trevine.
Torrance.
Not to be confused with Terrence.
Yeah.
They hate each other, Torrance and Terrence.
Yeah.
They just at each other's throats.
Tevin.
Tarek.
All right. Moving on to the other
Please.
sliding
Did
scale.
you say tall?
I did.
I
Actually went to school with a kid named Tall.
No.
I lost it. I lost the podcast. This is the Names with T podcast now.
Every month we just come back with one more.
It's now called Mr. and Mrs. T. It's just about people who have a name that starts with T.
Okay, going back to the
sliding scale. We have simple versus complex.
I gave this a simple 2. And this is my turn to say I don't entirely remember why. I do think that there's sorry, I give it a complex 2. I gave this a complex 2, and I think that there are some elements to it where it's a little over the top as far as like explaining things to people, and the symbols aren't exactly easy to read. It's like trying to learn a board game through emoji. I mean, on some level it's easier, but on some level it almost makes it more difficult.
I kind of wonder if that's becoming more of a thing because of the 4X genre. If you've noticed, over the past 10 years, they've made this big switch from words to like symbols.
Yeah, as opposed to 3 paragraphs of text telling me that my tank can roll forward.
Exactly. I just kind of openly pondering here.
Yeah, where instead it'll kind of just be like a forward arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
I
is
forced
all
you
really
all to
need.
play Candyland. I like the little pictures.
I like pictures too. I can't read. Pictures are very helpful.
Yeah, but
they're unique.
If I were playing Candyland and it were mushroom popsicle or muffin popsicle ice cream, I wouldn't know what that meant.
Fair.
But if it was muffin popsicle eggplant, you'd know exactly what that
Or
meant.
like egg equal or
Egg,
point
you get the
equals
egg,
egg
flour,
on
milk, and-
a certain type of nest in the forest biome.
Oh yeah, that
All
was
through-
a nightmare.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
through pictures.
I-
That's a little much.
Yeah. I gave it a complex 2, mostly just watching you struggle, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I gave it a complex too. I don't know a lot about engines and
Or birds.
or I know a little bit about birds. I mean, I know that they're a conspiracy and they're not real.
Wrong podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so just watching you be like having that difficulty, it made me realize it might have been a little too bogged down. Like, I like puzzles like that. I like the chaos. I said that earlier. But like you were kind of trying to swim in the chaos, and it wasn't
Yeah, I definitely
picking
was
up.
not picking up.
It's like
what
we
you guys
forgot
are
their
putting down.
floaties.
Yeah, I think
no wings.
2 or 3 more goes, and I'll probably be a lot better with this game. But this is definitely not new person friendly.
Yeah.
I ended up giving it a 1 towards the complex because I mean it's certainly not like Parcheesi or Trouble, but I wouldn't really consider this a complex game. I mean, after all, it's just an engine builder. So, but no, in all seriousness though, it's if you have somebody to guide your way through, then it's not that difficult.
Anyone have wrap-up comments other than this was a lot of fun?
Yeah, this is definitely a game I would recommend adding to a rotation for sure.
Oh yeah.
Final scores?
I gave it a 38.5.
I gave it a 35.
36.
I am also sitting at 35.
Nice.
So that's not right. Hold on. Can you give me your scores again? Because that did not work.
35, 36, 35, and you said 38?
Yeah, 36.1. No, sorry. It came out to like 118. I said, what the hell did I do? I'm using a calculator.
Wasn't that exciting? If you like this episode and all my wisecracks, you have at least 20 more on just about any place you can find podcasts. You can send us a tweet at Dance with Bards, or look us up on Facebook if it's not too much of a burden. Maybe flamingle with us on Mastodon at bards@crater.gg. We'll see you next month for our next episode. I regret nothing.
I loved that so much.
Oh my god. The egret. The egret at the end.
That's what really did it for you.
Oh my god.